Shall we go? I mean, this is a deep dive, but I think these songs deserve the time that we go through just one by one,
Yeah.
And share some thoughts.
Yeah.
So should we kick off with Slip On Through?
Let's do it. How do you feel about it?
This is one of my favorite songs on the album. I think, yeah, like you said, it sounds like an opener. I'm really loving what I'm hearing on the box set.
Yeah.
Like I said, like strip the vocals off. There's so much going on with these harmonies and some really cool like percussion going on in there. I kind of, I like listening to this instrumental actually and imagining maybe even like, again, it makes me think at this point, you know, they could have actually moved away from the signature Beach Boy harmony sound and just had something a bit less kind of cluttered. As much as, you know, I love the finished version.
Yeah.
I wonder, would that maybe have been something kind of more commercial at the time?
Could have been. I like that point of view. I could definitely see that. Yeah, kind of like it may reminds me what they would have started to do a little bit more when Blondie or Ricky came in the band. It departed a lot more from the classic Beach Boys sound. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Slip On Through is one of my favorite songs ever by the Beach Boys, let alone on this album. But Denny's voice on this is like romantic and confident, and he's so involved with telling this story about just being in love, and like it's such a palpable feeling. And then they get these chorus harmonies that are straight from heaven. Like they sound angelic in the background. And I've said this a million times, and I've said it before as we've talked already today, but the background vocals on Sunflower, they never achieved that sound ever again. And they never had it before that. There's some kind of maturity on this thing that's like, it was almost like they knew it was a make or break. And they had to do something that shows how confident and new and refreshed and grown up and mature they were. And the songs reflect it. I mean, it just sounds like the clouds opened up, the sky got clear, the sun came down, and here's Slip On Through. It's like one of those cool little songs. And it's short. It's just over 2 minutes long, but you're involved in every single second. There's not a second of dead space on this thing. It's a great song.
It's like you say as well, maturity as well, like in terms of the lyrical content, I think. Here, but on some of the other songs as well, you know, this isn't adolescents singing about, you know, kind of like childish vision, I suppose.
Right.
Chasing girls.
Yeah.
These are romantic love songs that have a deeper passion, I think, that they're conveying. And yeah, this is one of them.
Yeah.
There's another great version on the box set. I think it's just called like alternative version or something. I don't know. And they're doing a slightly different rhythm track.
Oh my God. Yeah. That
I was like, what is this?
I'm trying to follow that rhythm and I'm like, what the hell are they doing?
Quite complex.
It's very complex. Yeah.
I'm glad that they went with what they did, but I was like, wow, it's so cool to hear them doing something so kind of outlandish.
Yeah. Love hearing them figure that out. Very cool.
This Whole World. Ready to move on?
Magic in a bottle. Absolute magic in a bottle. I mean, you got Brian singing the first couple of lines, and then Carl comes in and sings the rest of the song. I mean, it's joyous. It's a happy, sunny day kind of a song. They capture innocence and wisdom and nostalgia all wrapped up in one with these really warm chords. And the whole song for me just sounds so comforting and reassuring. Again, another super short song that packs a lot of punches in under 2 minutes, but you know, to be able to convey joy and do it without sounding like a cheesy like kids theme, it's hard to do, and they nail it. They just nail it.
You said it. This is one of my favorite songs, you know, period. Easily one of their most underrated tracks.
Yes.
I think it's probably my favorite song on Sunflower. I've always felt a little bit of disappointment in how it kind of ends fairly abruptly, just to that kind of, and then a little bit of a fade out. So I was very excited to hear these like alternative versions. And I got to say, I think they actually then made the right decision, because it sounds like they were struggling to find an end. And some of these endings, like there's one where it kind of like goes into like a do 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 do, almost like something you'd hear in an elevator. Like, they're really trying to bring this to some kind of like climatic natural conclusion.
Yeah.
It just doesn't quite work.
Right.
But there's a great version here with like a lot more Brian vocal. And I think that's often what people find is missing from Sunflower and Surf's Up, Brian vocals. And obviously that's like a big raging debate that everyone likes to talk about, is like, when did Brian lose his voice? Because then we don't really hear him properly until 15 Big Ones.
Yeah.
But there's little snatches of him on the album, you know, on the songs that were released. But when you listen to the box set, he's contributing, but he's also singing lead on a lot of songs. It's just that ultimately they choose not to use them.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I hear him constantly in the background. I mean, especially on songs like Forever. I mean, you hear him all over that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because, like, you know, everyone writes about this era of Brian, like, you know, he'd hear things from his room and come down to help out once in a while or do this, do that. But he was really involved with this album, just like Friends. People think he wasn't on that one. He co-wrote all the songs on Friends. Like, and it's funny you mentioned them figuring out the end of the song. That's a classic Beach Boys trope where they'd like chop a bit off and just put out what was there. Like Meant for You on Friends. That's a whole other song after that thing. It's the first 30 seconds. Like, that was it, you know? They got the good part out. Good enough, put it on. Like, this is classic Beach Boys. But yeah, man, hell of a song. I love that ending. I love how abrupt it ends. I think it's a great way to
like
kind of, you know, fade into the distance, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. You've made me realize we haven't mentioned the name Stephen Desper yet.
Yes.
He's a key player in all of this.
Very much.
And especially now for these guys doing all this archival work. If he hadn't been there, you know, documenting things, saving things, where would it all be?
He was like the 8th Beach Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, his production skills, he was a humongous part of why the album sounds the way it sounds. Yeah, I mean, that, I don't think this stuff would have existed without him. So he's extremely important in their story.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I'm saying, like, I'm enjoying these new mixes and hearing new detail, and, you know, we've got the benefit of all like very, you know, modern methods and really nice hi-fi equipment to get all the separation and balance and blah, 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 all of that. But I think there's nothing wrong with the original mixes of Sunflower and Surf's Up. I think they're great. Because he mixed them as well. And that's brilliant. And he's a great guy.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he was just there. It was just like, what? Whenever I see him interviewed, and he's just like, oh, and then you know, and then we were there, and someone came in, blah, blah, blah. Brian came down, was like, can you pop in? Like, does he just like live in his house 24/7, like a butler?
All right, Brian, we recorded 3 songs today. What do you want for dinner? Yeah.
Like, Stephen, come on,
get down, man. You engineered that song really well, but your bacon and eggs were amazing.
Yeah.
Room and board taken care of.
Add some music to your day. I think, I mean, I know people love this. I think this is a weaker song.
Really?
It's just never hit for me. I think it's nice, but it doesn't have a big emotional core for me. I love hearing, you know, each guy get a turn.
Yeah.
I can see why then it was selected as like a single, because it's almost like reintroducing the band. So you get to hear everyone and all the, but you can see why it's like, this is just not going to be successful for the band at this time.
Yeah.
And I feel like it maybe is a bit incongruous here to this album.
Interesting. Yeah, like, I adore this song. As a single, I think it's commercial death because it's too long, it's too wordy, it changes way too much. It's not what people want to hear when they put the radio on. They want to hear 2 minutes and 50 seconds of something they can bop along to, remember all these easy words, and keep driving. They don't want to remember any movie when you're walking on your neighbor's yard. Like, what part was that? Was it the dentist office part, or was that the church part? Was it what part was that? You know, there's a lot of changes in that song. Well, the part with Carl, I think it's Carl and Al singing together, that music is in my soul. I love that part. Nice. Like, that gets stuck in my head constantly. You know,
that's
what
the best moment in the song.
Yeah, it's the best moment. Yeah, what a great line. I like this song. I think it's peaceful. And I think it's a good mission statement for them at that time. Where, like, you know, no matter how crappy the business was or how much America had forgotten about them, as long as they have music in them, they can keep going. So for that, I respect the song a lot. Yeah, definitely for me, an album highlight. And for me, I always forget the album doesn't start with this song. Even though I know Slip On Through is the first song, I can see this being the first song on the album.
Yeah.
But as a single, yeah, Commercial Death, man, it's not a good single choice. Slip On Through, perfect. I think Forever would have been a great single.
Yeah. Well, it was eventually.
Oh, it was. That's right. It was.
Yes. In its improved version.
Right. I just got that. No. Uncle Jesse. But no, I love that.
What do you think of? What do you think of some of the stuff in the box set? Then, do you like the alternative lyrics? Sorry, version.
Thank God they changed the words. Oh my God. I never heard that version before. And I was like, oh man, this is weak. Like some of those, I don't even remember what they were because they weren't that great. It was like, do you remember
it's all about like
or something? Or
it's kind of a bit like
Do You Remember?
Do You Remember?
Hey, yeah. In stereo. It was almost exactly like that. I was like, this is not good. It changed. It ruins the song because the song is so peaceful. But like the real words, was it Sunday morning gospel goes good with the soul? Like, that's it moves right in. That's a perfectly well executed line to match that music. So they got it right. Took them a while, thank God, but they got it
right. Got to Know the Woman.
Yeah.
What do you think?
For me, the weakest song on the album. I like it. It's funky. It's fun. Cool little rocker. Fun. Upbeat. I would have easily thrown on. I would have done. Cotton Fields would be a good change for that one, but yeah, it's not my favorite song, but I dig it, and I think it's good to have that kind of rockin' moment for the album because most of the album's pretty calm or chill or laid back. So to have that bit of like, adrenaline, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm with you though. I think this is a weak moment. It's just too derivative. It's a bluesy rock and roller.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have. We both said it. Lady, I think is one of the best songs of this era. Without a doubt, hands down. But you're going. I'm going your way.
Oh, that'd be a great choice. I love that song.
Yeah.
Or San Miguel.
Yeah,
that would be
absolutely. A good one. Yeah, but it's okay. But yeah, it doesn't really do much for me. And again, for me, it's another one of these like it's an incongruous moment when I kind of like do my fantasy like booking of this album.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, I quite like the idea of its core being like more of a kind of like Dennis-y rock album.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, you could just do it kind of like very gentle, kind of peaceful. And then maybe I'm kind of like, well, but maybe you put the rock songs on one side and the peaceful ones on the other. And that's always a bit cheesy, and that's always a bit of a cop out, though, isn't it? So, I don't know, but like add some music to Got to Know the Woman, to Deirdre.
I know.
I always find that a bit jarring.
It is. It definitely is. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
What do you think of Deirdre?
I love Deirdre. It's Bruce Johnson's syrupy best.
I agree.
He knew how to write those sappy songs, but he does them well. And I love his voice. I think that's a big seller. He's got that real calm voice. But he's always a good storyteller. He knows how to take a subject and write and stay within that mold, stay within that character. Plus excellent vocals, background vocals on it are great. Brian, I think, helped co-write it with him. I know he wrote like a couple of lines and Bruce was looking to get this whole thing co-written with him. Was that the story? And then Brian gave like 2 lines and walked away.
I think that's it, yeah. And he was like, well...
Bummed about it.
But I think Bruce was like, I'll just give him the co-write anyway, because then I can say I co-wrote a song with Brian.
Right. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I like it. I don't have much to add to what you said. I like both of Bruce's songs here. And I think they fit in a bit better than they ever have on any other Beach Boys album.
Yeah.
Because you've got songs like Add Some Music to Your Day around that. But it's quite interesting because obviously, like in a few years' time, they'll move to push him out the band. But apparently, there's a rumor that was already kind of happening in '69. Like while these songs are being recorded.
Yeah, he always felt like the outsider anyway, because none of his songs ever fit with the group, which is silly to think now. Because we look back as 2020 being what it is, they fit right in. But at the time, it was kind of like my songs were way too syrupy and drippy for these guys. But he knew for a while that he wasn't going to be in the group for a while. But now he's been with the band for over 40 years. So, I mean, who knows?
He does quite well under those circumstances to get 2 songs on this album.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, for a guy that came in to help, Brian not being on tour to become a full-fledged member writing songs that got on the album, it's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, let's jump ahead and do Tears in the Morning. I think slightly more poppy than Deirdre, probably possibly my favorite Bruce song, I think. And again, like what I was saying about Slip On Through, this feels like a bit more of a mature kind of love song. This is genuinely heartbreak and stuff about like, was it like a baby I'm never going to see? And it's like, this is a real relationship he's singing about.
I've always thought of this song as them singing about America and how they got way more popular in Europe than they were in America at that time. And so, the baby I'm never going to see is kind of like, he joined the band as they were losing popularity in America. Oh, kind of. I've always kind of read that, so you moved on up to Europe, you took your bags, all this kind of stuff. Like they really got big over there. So it kind of is like a looking back on what America used to be like for them. But I also see the relationship story. But this was a single, and they did this on TV in England for some show. I don't remember if it was Top of the Pops or what they were on. But
I think it was Top of the Pops. Yeah, but it's been deleted.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, no one was saving TV shows back then. I mean, it's the way it was. But
someone will find it. Power of the internet.
Yeah, or someone just filmed their TV at the time or something. Like come on. But a great song, really well constructed, great background vocals. Again, I like the emotion in his voice. The ending bit, I'm missing you, the part where he just kind of holds it for a while, very cool. Very maturely written song. Yeah.
One of the little details I like here, like you say on that line where he mentions Europe.
Yeah.
We get like a kind of, what's the word? Not squeeze box, an accordion. Comes in. And it just sounds very sort of like Parisian, right? Like continental Europe. It's just one of those cool little. I don't know who did that. I'm thinking Brian, but it just feels like a Brian thing to kind of do. To be like, oh, let's bring that in. At this point in the arrangement, and just a really cool, nice little touch, and the vibe of it is really nice.
It could have been Brian. He was always trying different stuff, like on Busy Doing Nothing. It's a bossa nova song, and Pet Sounds itself isn't very rock and roll. The song Pet Sounds is kind of more of a Latin shuffle or something. So it could have been him. Yeah.
Let's go back to It's About Time. This is cool. Yeah, it's another Dennis rocker, but with Carl on lead. Nice combination, I think.
Yeah.
This is another one that for some reason it's never quite hit with me. Like again, some of the kind of Dennis songs that are left off I prefer. But I have been enjoying it a lot more on this box set. Again, like hearing the depth of the arrangement. And I really like this live version they've included. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
It just kind of like takes off.
Takes
flight.
Yeah, they used to close their concerts with this one for about a year or so. This was their big closing song. And they're actually playing this again now, the Mike and Bruce show. They've been playing this again this past summer for the first time in 50 years. It's been brought out back to life. And Feel Flows, which is weird. But
I wonder who's singing lead on this.
Mike's son, Christian.
Okay, that could be pretty cool.
There's a video of them doing it back in July, and he was screwing up some of the words, and I was like, I get it, it's a wordy song, but come on, man, like you're the that's the whole point of the Beach Boys is your vocal. Like, come on. He sang it fine once he knew what the words were, but I love this song. Carl's got this good rockin' voice on it that would only mature better as the years go on. His voice got better and better with that rock feel as he got older, because he was only like, what, 23 or something, 24 here? He was a kid.
Wow.
But yeah, hearing that vocal is really good. I love the guitar solos on it by Carl. Just a rockin' grooving song. Yeah. Definitely one that you have to sit with because the words aren't easily recognizable. You gotta like listen to the words to like digest them. They don't just stick to you easily. But the drums on this one are awesome. Really good rollicking drums. I'm not sure who did them, but great drums. Maybe who the hell was that? I can't remember.
Could be Ed Kowalski.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ed Kowalski. Yeah, it definitely wasn't Dennis. Yeah, not his style.
That is one of the detail that comes through on some of these like instrumental mixes. It's like extra percussion and like everything that's going on, and being able to hear it better does make it more exciting, I think.
Yeah, it comes to life more. Yeah,
it's really explosive.
Yeah.
I think what's cool as well is this is a live version that's like contemporaneous with this material. It's like, it's 1970, 71 or something.
Yeah.
A lot of the live versions here, they didn't do these songs at the time. So there's a few from the late 80s. There's some from 93 when they added more songs on after the release of the Good Vibrations box set.
Right.
But it's nice to have, okay, this is actually a song from the time that they were doing at the time, and you can hear them doing it with this lineup.
Yeah, it's great to hear it. Yeah, contextualized from the era. They should have put that version of Forever on there from that New York concert they did, but that would have been a great addition as well. Because I know they have a lot more live stuff, but maybe it was a matter of time and space on the CD itself or something. But hearing that one from there is cool. You're right, exactly, yeah. I love that song.
All I Want to Do. This is. I'll be honest, this is one that passed me by for a long time.
Yeah.
It took a while to seep into my bones. And it really feels like the last 5 years, maybe, it's really had a bit of a renaissance with people, saying like, oh, Beach Boys invented chillwave.
Yeah. Yeah, the original version of Washed Out, the Beach Boys. Yeah.
But then you listen to it and you're like, well, yeah, probably a lot of these guys have been influenced by, maybe not directly by this, but echoed down the years.
Yeah.
And then I was like, listening to it, I was thinking, God, actually, I don't know, was anyone doing anything like this? Were there any of the band's peers kind of experimenting in this way? All that heavy reverb, just like, it's very slight, isn't it, as a song? And it all relies on just like building up space, room, atmosphere, brilliant, trippy, laid back, quiet, gentle, spiritual vibe. And hats off to Mike here.
Yeah, for sure.
One of his best ever performances. And I really liked hearing his a cappella. Yeah,
that opened up a whole other world for me. All the background vocals on that one. Yeah. You're totally right. I've never heard a song that sounds like that from that era. It sounds like it was recorded in the early 2000s. It doesn't sound like from 1969 or 70. It sounds so foreign, but yeah, you're right. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Yeah, one of Mike's best vocal performances. And the spirit that they capture on it, that easy flow and feeling, it's something that they would recreate again with All This Is That. I kind of put those two together once in a while.
And maybe Phil Flows as well.
Yeah, and Phil, like totally, for sure. Yeah, but he does.
I love that as a little suite.
Ooh, I like
if
that.
They did those 3 songs in a row.
Yeah,
I would like to have like a dip. Maybe they do like, I can do like California Girls and Don't Back Down, and then Kokomo, and then we get these 3 songs. And then they can do Surfing USA and Barbara Ann.
I love it. He plays All I Want to Do once in a while. Like, he knows that people love it and dedicate it to the people they're with and stuff. So he'll do it once in a while. So that's probably one of the more performed songs from this album, honestly, which is such a strange thing. But that's the song I put on mixes for people who are like, I want to get into the Beach Boys, but I don't know what to do beyond the surf stuff. Hang on. check this out. This is one that you might really dig. And it usually works out. People are like, whoa, I would have never expected that. And it's like, yeah, that's some good stuff, man. Yeah.
But it must have baffled people at the time.
Oh, I'm sure it did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I think it still baffles people. That's why they're still figuring it out, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's songs like that have that kind of depth, to be able to explore them through the box set is great. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Forever.
I mean,
what can you say?
One of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I think sometimes I tend to fetishize unreleased songs. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, Dennis, he's got, Barbara and Ecology, and I'm like, are they better? And then I think, try and think about this critically, because I've heard Forever like 100 billion times.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is that good, and it could be one of maybe his best song ever. It's kind of everything he does, just like it's like the Dennis Wilson sound.
Yeah.
Like, perfectly encaptured in one song. And having, like, you can tell Brian's worked on this quite a lot as well, like really put his back into it. He's done his absolute best with like the vocal arrangement, and there's just some really nice nuances going around. And again, being able to hear like the a cappella version, hear all the backing vocals properly, every little bit in here. There's just so much more than I ever realized going on.
Yeah.
Just so much to enjoy.
100% what you just said. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the sweetest declarations of professing how you feel to somebody. It's so honest and simple, but so direct and sincere at the same time. And it's, again, one of those songs where their background vocals are straight from the heavens. It's truly incredible. That meld at the end where they're all singing different parts, and then Brian's doing his thing on top of it all. That for me is one of Brian's best moments on the entire album. It's his falsetto at the end of that song, because that ends on such a sweet, little leaf falling to the earth kind of feeling.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, Denny's vocals on that one is it's unbelievable. He sung with his soul. I don't think he ever sung with anything else in his body between his heart and his soul. That was always like what came out. Whereas
it's a real.
What's that?
Real like aching. It's a real like aching vocal. He's not straining to do. He's not trying to do something or like hit some like note that's out of his range. It's just it's kind of coming out naturally.
Yeah, it'd be natural. Exactly. Like someone famous once said Carl Wilson could sing the phone book, and that's completely true, because he's sung a lot of songs that he definitely made them better because he sang them. But with Denny, he's saying just what was inside him, and you feel it. It grabs you. It grabs you. And I think that's why people love Pacific Ocean Blues so much, because you're in for an experience and you put that on. Like, it's not just something to put on in the background. Like, you're invested with that album. But, one of the best songs they ever did. And then Full House had to smash it to pieces and ruin it and crap all over its grave. So
I can't wait for 10 years' time when we get that Summer in Paradise box set and we hear all the acapellas and instrumentals and unreleased backing tags, and that is going to be. Until that day, we've got this version.
That video was horrible. He's holding the babies and stuff. I'm like, oh god. I remember I did a cover Forever years ago. I put on my Facebook page. This was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And someone I worked with at the time was like, I love Full House. I was like, dude. It killed me a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, as long as you know this song, I guess that's cool. But bloody hell, man. Like, all the things you could have said. Classic Beach Boy story.
Feel the pain.
Yes.
I must say, I saw a picture of John Stamos with a Black Flag t-shirt. It said like Beach Boys, and I was like, cool. maybe he's not such a bad guy. And then I saw
John Stamos.
But then I saw the auto-tuned Mike Love John Stamos and Mike McGrath version of "Do It Again."
Oh yeah,
and all my goodwill went down the toilet.
I forgot about that.
Anyway, we digress.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah.
So this song is interesting because apparently this was something Brian kind of tossed off and then walked away from it, and the rest of the guys were like, "Wait, remember what that was? Write it down." Because it was like, yeah, well, Brian's classic for that. He'll just like bop away, and someone will go, "What's that?" Like, "Oh, it's made it up." I don't know. That's one of the songs. Apparently, that's how that happened. But I love this song. This is such a sweet little song. The string section on this thing. I'm glad they have a track of just the strings on this box set. Cool idea, because those play such an essential role in the song. But yeah, excellent Carl lead vocal. Absolute classics. I'm glad it's on the album. Hell of a song.
Yeah, it almost gets lost. It's quite low key.
It does get lost. I agree.
It's definitely it's the hidden gem, actually, I think, on this album. And when you really focus on it, yeah, everything you said's true. It's really sweet. Such a sweet little song. Well, love, of course, but
it's funny too. Like I'd always loved this song, and then in 2009, they put out that, I think it's called Summer Love Songs Greatest Hits CD.
Oh yeah,
and that's on there. I think it was a newer mix at the time of the song. And I remember being like, wow, like it kind of it made me reappreciate the song again. So ever since then, I've always been like, yeah, that's like a top track of the album. That's what you can't miss.
I love when that happens. That's why I still like doing mixtapes and things.
Yeah.
And like, usually I'll do songs that I think someone hasn't heard, and then I'll chuck in like an album track from something really, like from the White Album or something.
Yeah.
And just like, you just reappropriate it and you reframe it, and then you hear it slightly differently, and you're like, oh, I never realized that.
I love doing
such
that.
A good song.
Yeah, when you take something out and let it stand on its own, and has a whole different life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this deserves more, well, the whole album, right? But this song in particular, I think, deserves a bit more rediscovery.
Yeah.
At My Window.
One of my favorites.
Nice. What do you like about it?
It's peaceful psychedelia. It's like if a cloud got really, really high and wrote about the sunshine. That's what this song sounds like. I love that it's about a bird coming through a window. They wrote a whole bloody song about it. It's such a classic Brian story. Like, it's so good, and like the vocals at the end, they have so much good reverb on them. Bruce's lead vocals, fantastic. I love the oof part where they go and then fell to the ground. Oof, that's such a classic Brian thing too. Him singing in Spanish. Another lost album track, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Feels like it could have come from Friends, I think, this one.
100%.
So light and airy.
Yep.
Again, it kind of makes me think, like this album's like kind of two halves. You've got the, what could have been like progression of Friends.
Yeah.
Deirdre and Oh Sweet Love, All I Want to Do. And then you've kind of got like basically like the Dennis side of it.
Right. And then Dennis walks in,
finally, Cool Water.
Absolute classic.
How do you feel about this being here, especially versus, earlier Smile era attempts?
So this is one of the ones I think works on its own, where you can decontextualize it from Smile. Whereas a lot of the other ones they did, like Cabinessence, sounds wacky on 2020 for me. Same with Our Prayer. I love those songs, but on 2020 for me, it's like, what the hell are they doing here? Cool Water for me is like perfect. It is the perfect bow on the top of this package. It stands on its own for me.
It works, I think, coming off the back of some of these area songs, because it picks up the same mood and vibe.
Right.
It's very strange, though. It is very strange. I like the attempt they make here, though, to try and graft in something that makes it sound a little bit more like an actual pop song.
Right.
But like seeing them do it, what I think, did they do it on Mike Douglas or something the following year?
I think it was that.
There's footage of them And by that point, Carl's got the massive beard.
Right.
And they look kind of weird.
Yeah.
Again, I just think, like, what must the audience thought of this ultra kind of like sparse, thin, like it's just like a pink bubble of a song drifting through the studio.
Yeah.
But Mike Love, credit to him, and I know a lot of people hate this bit, but I love it. In an ocean or in a glass, cool water is such a gas.
Hell of a line, man.
Doesn't work with an English accent, but he makes it work.
I liked it with the English accent. It gave it some poise.
I don't know what gas is, but
it's like when something's fun, when something's cool. It's a gas.
Oh, a gas.
A gas. Yep. Cool water is such a gas.
It's a glass.
Oh no, yeah, it's
in an ocean or in a glass.
Yeah, in an ocean or in a glass, cool water is such a gas. Yeah,
just doesn't work for us.
Well, the way he also sings it too, he's real close to the mic. You can almost hear him like ASMR, like the way he enunciates a little bit. You know, he invented ASMR as well as chillwave on this album. Yeah, he gets real close to it, but man, this is just a real trippy, cool, chill song. I mean, they go places. The whole song is atmosphere. The whole song is a feeling. And that's so hard to accomplish and make that sound interesting without being, full of yourself or shoegaze. But
yeah,
I get crap for that one. But I like my Bloody Valentine. But yeah, I mean, it's something, again, they would never revisit that feel. Well, they would do it again with All This Is That. But then after that, it would kind of disappear from their work in terms of playing with sounds. So I like it for a sonic, textural kind of thing. And I think it led the way to what they would do for the next two albums. But hell of a song. But yeah, live, no. I mean, I wish they would show the audience in that video clip, because even Dennis is on the drums. He's got the big mallet stick on the hi-hat. It's going... There's nothing to do. They're just hanging out. I think the captain was there on piano for that one. I think he was in the group by that point.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Daryl Dragon.
Yeah. Yep. He was definitely in the group because he was on the Friends store. Yeah. Hell of a song, and I think a great way to end it too, because it kind of ends very peacefully, which is what they were going for at that time. So.
Yeah. Also, it's hard to think of anything coming after this.
Completely. Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like you said, it kind of peters and dissipates.
It's meant to disappear. Yeah.
Very meditative.
There you go. Exactly.
However, we're going to carry on because there's plenty more songs here to talk about. Cotton Fields, open parentheses, the Cotton Song. Close parentheses.
I love that song.
Do you think it was worth them having another stab at it?
Yeah. I love both versions, but the single version, Al nailed it. He knew exactly what he was looking for, and it works. That's got a whole different punch to it. Al, Secret Weapon, Al Jardine gave them a good hit in 1970 with that song. It's like he did it with Sloop John B. He did it with Come Go With Me. And what was the other one? That's another one that he had. But Linda. Lady Linda was a pretty good, well, for over there anyway, not for us, but for you guys, yeah. I like it. They nailed it. It's fun. It's upbeat. It's got a good groove to it. It's simple, catchy, easy to remember. Super American sounding. Texarkana at the bottom half of the States. Definitely a Journey type of song with a slide guitar and very country vocals to it. So I can see why it would have done well,
I think that kind of makes it a bit more apparent why it did so well in Europe as well.
Yeah.
Because, you're kind of trying to sell coke to the coke dealer, selling it in the States.
Right.
Here it's like, wow, what's this like novel American, like ultra American sounding thing?
Yeah.
Goes down, like people eat it up.
That down home country sounding song they got there.
I love all the there's all this like twangy stuff on there as well. Like it's like jaw harp or Jew's harp or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, the
All
Snoopy
of
part.
that makes it so fun.
Yeah. Which I can't play that for beans, man. It hurts.
I've never tried.
You have to like vibrate it against your teeth, but you can crack a tooth doing it. I'm not sure how people play it because like it hurts to do it. So I don't recommend.
Bloody hell!
Yeah, don't do it.
No pain, no gain.
Yeah. All in the name of a weird mouth instrument.
Yeah. Breakaway. So I mean, you were saying, yeah, weird that it's here, but I mean, it was just, I mean, obviously because it came out on Capitol, you kind of think of it as different, or it's before a certain time, but actually it was recorded after Slip On Through and Lady and all these other songs.
So weird to think of that. Yeah, so it's of the time.
It's later in the time frame.
Yeah, it's super weird, but
and here comes Murray back into the mix.
Reggie Dunbar. Yeah. I love Breakaway. It definitely sounds like the last of the Capitol era. It sounds like of that time. It sounds nothing like Slip On Through or Lady or Forever, any of that stuff. It sounds like they were recording something that would have been done a year earlier. So I'm not sure if they had that in the pocket for a while, that they wrote it and kind of like, oh, let's hang on to it, or if it was of its time. I don't know, but yeah, classic. I love that they take turns doing leads. I love how they have the ending where they take turns vocally with each other, which they revisit constantly over the next few years. That became a trope of theirs, especially with like Marcella or Indiana Mess Help to Stand Alone. They loved doing that vocal interplay at the end. But yeah, great song, man. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I love it as well. Again, it just feels like maybe not the song to be a big single at that point. I think it has got this. There's something in it. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, "Ooh, this!" I can hear the old hat in this. And the more I've heard it, the more that's kind of faded, and I just love all the everything to love about it.
Right.
But there is something of Murray's. You can feel Murray's fingerprints on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everything you said about the performance, production, etc. And yeah, it's just a great upbeat song.
Yeah.
Nice to hear as well a little bit of that like darkness, like in terms of, like the lyrics coming through.
Right.
Which again, like Brian sort of embracing around this time. And well, when we get to the Surf's Up stuff, we can talk about that. But this is like the first, I think, hint of that creeping in.
Yeah, and fitting enough. They were breaking away from Capitol at the time. They, the whole song is about, the lonely life and the shackles that are holding me down. Like it's all about moving on and doing something new. So it's fitting that they would have ended their tenure with Capitol with a song like that, or almost ended. Yeah.
Do you think they had that in mind? They're like, we're going to give them Breakaway and celebrate the news.
I think they were being a bit cheeky with some of that stuff. Yeah, because I think a little bit of that was like, sawed off, guys. We're out of here. We got a whole new deal going on. Screw you. We're out. I think it was a bit of that, probably. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think this one, Celebrate the News, is amazing.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I can't quite imagine it fitting in the album. It's almost too big. It's like towering.
Yeah.
It starts out small and it becomes huge.
Right.
And I don't know who kind of like helped maybe with the arrangement or anything here, or if Dennis did just cook it up, but it feels really accomplished. That it moves through these different parts and then becomes this whole other song, and just like the vocals becoming bigger, the amazing like percussion and drums all becoming bigger.
Yeah.
Herculean rock song.
Ooh, I like that.
I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely should have been, maybe if not on Sunflower, definitely like on a Dennis album. This would have been a jewel in the crown.
Yeah. I agree.
Fantastic.
Everything you just said, I agree with. For me, it's a song that stands on its own. It doesn't need to have a home anywhere else. It's meant to be its own little thing. Have you seen that video of them doing it on a TV show where Carl plays drums?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
That's so cool. I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like, and I think they did around the same time they did go on TV and do Lady.
It could have been.
So it's like,
yeah, it could have been.
I suppose it's this period where, they're cooking up all these songs and they don't even know what they're going to put out. So they're just like, let's just do some of these songs that we've just written and we're most excited about.
And to play a
It just wouldn't
B-side on
happen now.
TV, very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Well, and stuff that then wasn't released.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
I mean, going all the way back to Brian doing Surf's Up, right?
That's for the Leonard Bernstein special. Yeah, exactly.
But well, we'll come to that a bit later, I guess.
Right.
But, yeah, so exciting when you see like obscure songs, just like we're going to pull out.
Have a little life of their own.
Loop de Loop.
I've always liked this song. Just goofy fun.
I feel a bit the same way you do about Breakaway. Like, I can't imagine this bleeding into this era.
You're
it
right.
Feels like a Capitol thing.
Yeah. It's it's just a fun little song. There's nothing too crazy about it. It's just a fun little good time with some good horn arrangements, and I think it's them just having fun with a riff that someone came up with and said, "All right, let's write a song around that."
There's that Sailplane song on the.
Oh yeah, the Christmas one.
Yeah, no, it's on. No, that's Santa Got an Airplane.
Right.
I think on the last copyright thing, the 2020 one, I think. You've got Brian's initial, really slow, haunting piano demo of this. It's called Sailplane Song.
Yeah.
And he's just playing the chords with like loads of reverb, and it sounds it sounds kind of like dark. Like
Evil Circus. Yeah.
Yes, or in the crypt of like a cathedral.
Right.
Dong, dong, dong. And he's just doing this like, they haven't got any lyrics at this point. He's kind of like making plane noises. It's like, bo, bo, bo. He's going like, wee, woo.
I forgot. I haven't heard that forever. I'll have to play that again tonight.
It's a piece of art in itself.
It's been a while.
The fact it develops into this kind of Smile sounding kind of arrangement, I think.
Totally.
It was all like, there's like whoop, whoop, all these like sliding like whistle sounds. And I don't know. He co-wrote. I mean, Al feels like he pushed a lot for this one. I know Brian obviously must have come up with it originally, but I always think this is like an Al song. Because then the version that came out on the soundtrack for Endless Harmony, for that film and the soundtrack, Al actually cleaned it up in 1998. Added new vocals and everything. So a lot of people were keen to get this original 1969 mix. Yeah. So that was quite exciting. Hearing this, I think it's been on bootlegs, but hearing it properly cleaned up and everything, proper version. This was like quite high on my list of things I wanted.
Oh,
so I was really excited to get it.
I like when they've been doing this lately with like having some of the original mixes on things, because they're hard to find, like the old stuff. If you found a record, it's like 2 scratch, like. So the Breakaway is the original 1969 single mix. That's awesome to have that on there.
Totally.
And they're doing that with the Let It Be reissue coming up. They have the Glenn Johns 1969 version of the album that's going to be on that box set. So I think it's really cool. Yeah.
This one, apparently, Capitol were sniffing around this a bit as well. Because even though they're going through this, like they're suing them, they're still kind of like, well, we might do another deal with you.
Right.
And we quite like the idea of releasing Loop de Loop. Can you imagine if that had come out? 69?
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked. Not a word. Like, that would have been... It's kind of cartoony sounding anyway. And if they were trying to be taken at all seriously, that would have been the absolute death nail for that band. I love this song. Cool song. It's great. But not a single.
2 years too late, maybe.
Yeah, if it was like 1966, yeah, sure, knock yourself out. People were still buying Beach Boys stuff in America at that point. Like, it would have been okay. Or as like the B-side, like if like The Little Girl I Once Knew and that song were together as a single.
Oh, nice.
That might work. But
Capitol, put it out.
Yeah.
Record Store Day 22.
Oh man, that'd be so cool. I'm in.
Soulful Old Man Sunshine. This is great.
Yeah.
And it's not like anything else from this time that they do. It does sound a little bit, it's got like an old old kind of like, I always think like old like deep South Americana sound.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very much got like a Motown R&B flavor, and obviously Carl shoots a lot of that into the song with his vocal. And it's got maybe like a little bit of a schmaltzy big band stuff as well that maybe, again, I think like this probably shouldn't have come out at the time. They were probably right not to release it, and maybe wouldn't have fit on the album. But damn, do I think this is a good song, and do I love it.
100% agree with everything you just said. Yeah, it definitely sounds like something from an early 40s Disney movie. It sounds like, just a really joyous, like people are like holding hands, walking down a dirt road, and like, dragging a stick along someone's fence as they're like going to school or something. It's like, it's got that kind of feel to it. It, for me, feels like something that could have worked on Adult Child, because you get stuff like, stuff. Life is for the Living and all that stuff. Like those songs I think could have worked well for it. So they kind of played with those things on and off throughout the years. I'm not sure if that was just because they grew up with songs that sounded like that, but yeah, I love this song. It's got such a big sprightly energy to it, but it doesn't fit at all on anything at that time, except for the thing that I made on Spotify the other day for Sunfleur. It works perfectly. I'll have to post that set list because it came out pretty good. I've been playing it for a couple of days and it works all right, but
I'll definitely give it a listen.
Yeah,
you have to put the link down below.
I'll do it. Cool song.
If you don't, I mean, obviously stick around here the rest of this, but then Sunfleur.
Exactly.
I staggered, like this feels like a massive production to me. I don't know why.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
Kind of.
Yeah, lots of swells. And stuff.
But like the industry of this band working on these songs, just to go, no, actually. And then on the next album project, or even then into the mid-70s, they're not going back and thinking, oh, we had that was great. It's just, that's it.
You move on.
Didn't work immediately. Just forget it.
You're on to the next thing. You're writing something new and you're more interested in that. So it's, that's how it goes. Yeah.
Is this the song where I think maybe Carl didn't like, he made like a small flub on one of vocals?
People keep saying that. I've never heard it.
Yeah, I always listen. I'm like, I can't really hear what he did.
Someone sent me a message about that recently. I was like, am I not hearing this? Like, I've heard this song a million times. Like, where am I not hearing this? Yeah.
I mean, he was a perfectionist, so maybe there was something there he didn't like. But it seems extreme to scrap the whole song. Just like go back and record a overdub.
The session players got paid, and that's all that mattered. They walked away with their paychecks, and if the song came out, it came out. If it didn't, it didn't. So, one of those things.
Easy.
Yeah.
San Miguel.
Love this song.
Castanets.
Yes. This could have come out in 1965 and been a giant song for them. Giant song. This would have been a smash hit. Yeah. But it showed up too late to the party.
Yeah. I saw a comment from Jack Riley, who he wasn't associated with the band at this point. He's not in the picture, but I think he said that this maybe lacked. What did he say? He said it was a hook, not a song.
That's interesting.
Discuss.
Isn't that what we're here for on the radio? Is only for hooks? I mean, come on. Yeah. That's what sells records, but. That's interesting. I mean, what also blows my mind about this song is that it came out on that 10 Years of Harmony Greatest Hits LP in 1981. This random little song that was never officially released pops up on a Greatest Hits album. Who knew?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Especially now that we know what's available from this period. Who went, that one.
That one. I mean, they picked and choose from this era for the next 12 years. I mean, When Girls Get Together was on Keeping the Summer Alive. And at that point, the song was 11 years old. It was an ancient song. Almost
let's
every
talk
album.
About it.
When Girls Get Together?
Yeah, let's do it, because it's sitting here. It's the white elephant in the room that we're ignoring.
It just sounds like going to a really bad Italian restaurant, and there's a band in the corner trying to sound like home, and they're not doing a good job, and they've had a couple of drinks, and they're trying to remember the words of the songs they knew in their youth, and it just doesn't work. It's so cheesy, and like I tried again the other day with it, and I was like, God, this song just doesn't go anywhere. It plods along like some circus in someone's head where they don't know how to get out of the tent. Like it's just annoying. Like that's the thing. Like, and I've tried over and over again. It's bloody annoying. It goes nowhere. It strikes no ground. And the vocals do nothing. They just don't do anything. Hate it.
It's almost like there's like a horn that's kind of. It's almost like it's slurring. It's like it's really like weird. It's weird, lazy. But then I think, actually, I think they're kind of like going for like a hazy, and it makes me think, maybe this comes from the same place as All I Want to Do or Cool, Cool Water. And maybe they just need to work with it a little more. And then, I mean, the vocals aren't recorded here in 1969, are they? Right. The versions that they put on their reels are instrumental. And I think, and I might be wrong here, but I think the vocals are only recorded in 1979 or 80 or whenever they're working on that album.
Yeah, they were later on, yeah.
So I think it's strange, and I've seen some other people commenting that we get this here. A lot of people are saying, like with Loop de Loop, we want the 1969 mix that was on the master reel. We don't want, this should be on the box set that comes out for Keeping the Summer Alive, if we want the vocal version.
That's true.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to imagine if they'd done a vocal here in 1969, would they have been clever enough to draw something out? What this music feels like it's meant to be supporting a very different kind of song.
Yeah.
Than what we got.
Who knows? They may have had words at that time, because I know I've Got a Friend, which is buried somewhere on track disc 4 or 5 somewhere. They played I've Got a Friend live back in the day.
Yeah.
So I mean, and this is just instrumental on this box set, but it's possible they had words lying around, or maybe they cut that track off and just left the instrumental because the words weren't there yet or something. But it's a song that just never died. It was on like every version of the album they were going to put out, and then it cropped back up again throughout the 70s, and then they finally put out the album in 1980. And it's like, I don't know who in the camp loved it so much that it always hung around, because it's so un-Beach Boysian that it's not accessible. God, I can't stand that song.
It's strange that they thought it was releasable as an instrumental as well. They put it here on
very unusual
submissions.
Yeah, very unusual. I mean, they did that on and off throughout the early 60s, but it was like a surf rock song. So that was just the way surf rock was. It was instrumental. But to put a song like this and waste space on an album with a song that sounds like this for 3 minutes nonstop that goes nowhere, one churning thing over and over again. It's like a wind-up toy. No thanks.
It only gets worse with the lyrics as well.
I know.
I put it in the same bracket as like Hey Little Tomboy, that just kind of like they unwittingly reveal how kind of like misogynistic they are.
Yeah.
It's like, when women get together, don't they just talk a load of blabbering crap? They just talk about shopping and boys and going to get a manicure.
Right.
But we love them for it.
Right.
All the same.
Right. I mean, it's exactly like Hey Little Tomboy. It's like, what if you would look great if you did something to yourself. Like, what a horrible thing to say to someone. Like, just let them be them bloody selves. Like, God. I mean, maybe it was the time that's how people talk or something, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still a crappy message. I mean, they're not gonna be all bangers. Like, they wrote 1,000 songs. Like, there's gonna be a couple of snoozers in there once in a while. So, you know.
But we've been talking for a long time. We've been extremely positive, so it's nice just to have something to rag on a bit.
You know what's
just
funny?
So we do have critical faculties here.
Yeah, there is a negative sometimes. Like, and I've talked to people on the channel who love this song, and I'll be like, all right, that's great. What do you like about it? And they're like, well, I love the music, or I love how it sounds like this. And I'm like, man, are we hearing the same song? And to each their own. Great. If you like it, fantastic. Knock yourself out. Yeah. But
I'm glad someone's getting something from it.
Yeah, it gets a big old 0 from me, man.
Let's talk about I'm Going Your Way then.
Love that song.
Like I said, one of my faves. Yeah. So 2 versions been in circulation for a while on bootlegs. And I think, one here on the box set, one, as we said earlier, on the 1969 digital release, which has now vanished.
Right.
Also known as California Slide. Yeah, I would have loved to have heard this on the album, definitely. I can understand if they got cold feet because of the Manson thing.
Yeah.
Although that's total conjecture. I see people go, oh, well, they're not going to put this on. It's not like it explicitly references that. It's just that whole, thing of like picking up strangers hitchhiking. So probably Dennis was writing about that incident, but it wasn't particularly well known. No one's going to listen to that and just think, oh my God, it's talking about Charles Manson.
Instant Manson, right. Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a fun song. I mean, it's rocking. Excellent drums on that thing. The guitars are just riffing away. His vocals are great. This is an upbeat, energetic track that would have fit well on Sunflower, I think. Yeah.
And again, I think just like would have appealed to maybe a more commercial audience for 1970. It sounds tough.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a cool guy. He's appealing, got something to say.
You know what? They should have used it for like Tulane Blacktop. Like I'm Going Your Way sounds like you're driving somewhere,
Can you imagine if this was on the soundtrack instead of...
Pretty sweet.
Instead of, because, there's a bunch of Doors songs on there, and then they couldn't basically renew the license, which is why it kind of like just sat dormant for decades.
Makes sense.
That would have been perfect.
It works. Yeah. Another What If in the Beach Boys story.
Yeah. What are we on, like, what if 1,327?
Every song's a what if at this point.
Susie Cincinnati, yeah. Shall I just go through the long life of this song? So,
go for it, man.
Like we said, first it appears as the B-side of Add Some Music to Your Day.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think it next appears as the B-side to The Child of Winter.
I think you're right. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
Obscure 1974 single.
Came out like 2 days before Christmas. Perfect timing for the record market, yeah.
The only thing they released between Holland and 15 Big Ones.
Isn't that weird?
Is The Child of Winter.
That's so weird.
With Susie Cincinnati on the B-side.
Yeah.
So it's like, in case of emergency, break glass. And Susie Cincinnati.
We don't have a B-side. Is Susie available? Put that on there. Yeah. Good.
Then, this is a real head scratcher. 15 Big Ones. Let's just grab this old song from 1970, stick it on there.
Makes no sense on that album at all.
I suppose it's got a bit of a throwback, kind of like, 60s rock and roll car thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's not like they didn't have other stuff. It's not like they'd only recorded 14 songs. And like, we're desperately scratching around for another one. There's loads of other stuff in the can. And then it's crowning moment when they go, do you know what? That's the next single. So then finally it achieves A-side status.
Unbelievable. Hell of a life. The song that wouldn't die. And it's funny too, because like on 15 Big Ones, that's the song that gets lost for me on that album. And I feel like it dumbs it down to have it on there. Because it's actually a decent song, but I feel like it doesn't get its credit at all because of being stuck on that album. It's got such a bizarre home there. Like, honestly, they could have just taken the song off and it would have been fine without it. You don't even have to replace it with anything else. Just take it off.
Just have 14 songs.
Yeah, 14 Big Ones. Yeah.
Would have screwed their marketing plans.
Well, true. Yeah. That's the story of their life again. But Yeah. You know, like we said earlier, this thing's definitely given me, this box set has reappraised that song for me. It's
Freaking love it.
a lot of fun to hear it now. Yeah.
There's just so much cool extra stuff in there. Stinging
Yeah.
guitar. Yeah. And
It
some extra
rocks.
twangy, weird stuff. And
The
yeah, and
background vocals. Yeah.
Al's killing it.
It's a
Amazing.
fun song.
You wouldn't believe that it was the same recording. And yeah.
It's one of those things where you take the song out of context and you get to hear it again with fresh ears, and you're like, wow, holy moly, I actually really dig this song. So what's interesting about it though is, like, I don't think they played it once on their reunion tour in 2012. They might have, but I don't remember.
I've forgotten what they played. Did you go and see them?
I did, yeah. Just once at that time, yeah. I saw Brian do Smile back in the day. And then
nice.
The reunion tour. So it's been a long time since I've seen any of them live. I might go see Mike and Bruce. They're coming around fairly soon. Just to hear Field Flows live.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool.
Why not? I'd go if they were around.
It's about time.
I went to the 2012. I'm so glad I went to that 2012 show.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them at the Royal Albert Hall. So
cool.
It was quite a funny time because it was right at the end of the tour.
Yeah.
And it was like a day after that kind of stuff Mike Love had announced in the press.
Oh, the email?
Yeah, because everyone was like, wow, maybe they'll carry on.
Yeah.
And then Mike Love's like, no, we're not going to carry on. And
right.
It was like, yeah, it was the day after that, I think.
What a mess.
I was on holiday. No, I was on holiday in India. And
Whoa.
I was like,
cool.
I was going to stay on for like an extra week. And I was like, no, I cut short my holiday, came back just to see that gig.
Worth it.
Yeah, I'm so glad I went. I was meant to see Brian. He was meant to come here last year.
Yeah.
But it's happening now next year. So at that point, it will have been delayed for 2 years.
Oh my God. He's just delayed a couple more shows over here because of everything going on. I don't blame him. Yeah. He's 80 years old.
Fair enough.
Keep him safe. Oh my God.
Yeah, it worries me. Because I was going to see him on the Friends tour, which got cancelled.
I wanted to see that tour so bad. Oh my God, it's so cool.
Yeah, what a shame.
I know.
And originally this show was rescheduled for this year, 4th of July. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's going to be so cool, seeing Brian Wilson 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I was going to get my like tacky, I was looking at pictures of Mike Love from the late 80s, early 90s. I was going to get my like Stars and Stripes, like shell suit jacket, windbreaker, and like baseball cap.
Yeah.
Wasn't to be.
That's so good.
Back home. This is an interesting one. This is another one that's got a long life.
Yeah, another song that wouldn't die.
So this is interesting. Here we get a demo that I'd never heard before, with quite a lot of chatter. Just interesting here it coming together.
Yeah, those were so fun to hear.
Yeah, I'd never heard that one. I think that's leaked before. But obviously this goes back to 1963, I think.
Yeah.
This is one that Brian wrote with, what was he called? Bob Norberg. His old, his roomie.
Yep.
And there's pretty good, I can't remember if was it on Big Beat 1963? I think it has.
I can't remember.
Been officially released now. Anyway, if it's not, it's on like Get the Boots.
On something. Yeah.
So, you can go and hear it. Everyone can hear that version. I really like it, that early 63 version. But here, it's weird how they play around with it, because you got that 63 version. Now you hear this demo, which I'd never heard before.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the version that isn't on the box set, but it's on Made in California, where Al does the lead vocal.
Yeah.
And then I think the version here is the same backing track, but with Mike having a go at the lead vocal.
Right.
This was really interesting to me. It's not my favorite song, but hearing all these versions was really unexpected.
Yeah, it's cool. And again, I like when songs kind of grow for a while. And the live version that's on here, I think, is awesome. They're nailing it. Someone told me that some of it's a bit studio. and maybe it is, but whatever. It still sounds fun to me. But hearing them kind of figure it out with these really weird early versions of it definitely gives a whole new life to that track, and to see where it came from and what it became. Yeah.
Because if anything, then by the time it comes out, 76, it's a way more stripped back version, isn't it? Like, this is way more complicated. They're trying to draw more of a song out of it.
Right.
And in the end, it goes back to just being like we said earlier, it's kind of more like a hook than a full-blown song.
Let's just make it rock again. It's just easier.
I'm not sure about this live version, Giggens. That's a bone of contention for me.
Oh, really?
Because it's from 76, I think, isn't it?
It's
very much it's the 76 version being performed like that version.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, this just feels like it's taking up space. Save that for the 76, 77 box set.
I can see that. I think they just threw it on because it was from the era.
It's too late for me. If they'd done a version of it live in 1970, 71.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I want to hear that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, this shouldn't be here, I don't think. That's my feeling.
I just love how joyous the chorus sounds on it. Like Carl just singing along at the top of his lungs, I think is really cool. I think it would work well for a 15 Big Ones box set completely because it's from the album. Yeah. So I can see where it worked for both for sure. Yeah. Another song that had it always pops up,
And we got another one here that won't die. Good Time.
Yeah. Everyone did this song. American Spring, the Beach Boys.
Oh, yeah. And then eventually they don't even bother to re-record another version.
I know, it just dies.
It's just it just goes, oh, let's just take it. But what's it doing on Beach Boys Love You?
I have no idea. I've always wondered that one. It doesn't fit at all.
Just so, again, like, you look back, and I suppose because it's Brian lead vocal.
Yeah, but he sounds like he did in 1970, and the rest of the album is Brian, singing like this the entire time. So it's a whole different setup. But
I don't think it belongs on there. I mean, they put it here on these early versions. I don't think it belongs. It's definitely a weaker one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's never one of my favorites either. I kind of like it a little bit more with American Spring singing it, which would have been cool if that was on the set. But it's just, it never really goes anywhere for me. It just kind of plods along. It's got a memorable little sound to it, but the chorus is good. I think that's kind of fun. But the verses for me is kind of like, they're just kind of there. It would have been a good B-side or something, but not my favorite. It's good.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Two Can Play.
Yeah.
Which used to be called Games.
Two Can Play. Yeah.
Someone's made an executive decision.
I was wondering that. There's a couple of songs like that where they've changed some titles around. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, that really, obviously not the most surprising thing in this box set.
No.
Yet, I zoned in on that. I was like, excuse me.
What do you think of this one?
I've always disliked it. And again, I like it more here for some reason.
Really? Interesting.
I think I can hear there's definitely more like percussive stuff that I can hear in there that I just got into the rhythm a bit more.
I like it. That's cool. I have no opinion change on this one. It's still the same song for me. But, people change. So maybe a month from now, I'll like it more. But, this doesn't do anything for me. I can see why it didn't go anywhere and it wasn't released. There's no pop to it. There's no guts to it,
It's in the same bracket as Good Time, I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's there. It's got some nice bits, but it doesn't quite do anything. It doesn't hit any emotion or beat or anything.
It's just kind of there. Yeah. Like an exercise. Like, you had a Sunday afternoon off and wrote this song and that's what came out, kind of thing.
Things get worse, in my opinion, now with Walking. This is definitely in the same bracket as the. This is definitely a go nowhere.
Definitely meant to not be released. It's fine, but yeah.
I was surprised because this was already on the 68 collection.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Which confuses me because obviously they worked on it in this period. So I was surprised it was. I was surprised when that came out and it was there. Yeah. So maybe they started some of the tracking and then finished it here.
It could have been.
Which is why it's on both.
Or it just had a long life as well, and they just really like that song.
I've got a version on a bootleg that's got a slightly different. I think it's the same vocal, but maybe they've edited it.
Oh, cool!
Because Brian is obviously not enamored with this song, and at the beginning, so I was kind of hoping we'd have that on this mix, but it's not. He's kind of like whining and complaining, like, "Oh, I don't want to sing it again." And,
really?
And about halfway through, when he kind of gives up, you hear him go, "Oh, fuck it."
I've never heard that before. I have to look that one up. Oh my god, that's
I'll take it out and send it to you.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's bloody funny.
I know. I was waiting for it. I was like, "This is going to be one of my favorite moments on the box." I was like, "Hey, they're taking it out."
They probably took it off because he swore, and they probably wanted a clean box. Yeah.
Where is she?
Absolute classic.
Amazing, isn't it?
Absolute classic. I mean, this should have been on an album. They could have beefed this one up a little bit more and had an absolute knockout classic on their hands. This is one that's like, how could you forget a song like that? How could you just let that sit by and forget about it like that? What's interesting too is that like it's such a guitar-centric song. Like it's such a well-picked, strong, or you're picking the strings to like match the vocal melody, which they didn't do a whole lot of. So hearing that sticks out really well. So I wonder who played guitar on that. It may have been Carl, but yeah. I mean, Brian's voice is still, he's got that sweet, angelic voice still, but a little bit more matured.
Yeah. There's a few bits where you've got the double tracking, there's a little bit of, I don't know what you call it, but it's a little bit of a sour shrill on some of the very highest points of the falsetto, I think.
Interesting.
It's just a little bit of a hint, and you can hear it in some of the vocals here, I think. It's not quite the 1967, even 68 vocal.
Right.
There's a little bit of deterioration. But, I mean, that is nitpicking because, it's such a beautiful, great voice.
And who knows if that was even it probably wasn't even a master take vocal. It was probably something he put down just as a guide or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's the shame about this. It's like, you can't quite... It couldn't have quite been released in this form.
Right.
You just think, God, please, why didn't they just finish it?
I mean, that would have fit pretty well in Sunflower, I think. With some put some bass on it, drums in the right spot, really good swelling vocals for the background. You got a massive hit in your hands, man. What if?
Carnival. It's just goofing around, isn't it, really? I mean, I love it. It's good fun.
Isn't it a play on like a traditional song?
Yeah.
Like a merry-go-round kind of song. But this was a contender to be on one of their Sunflower versions as well. This was on one of the early track lists, I thought, anyway. Maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, you're right. There it was. I read it out earlier. Yeah.
Very bizarre choice.
Very.
Rather that than Girls Get Together, though. So I'll take this one.
It's it's a good time when it's on. It's like the party version of Beach Boys, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
It's just or the like Laid in Hawaii. You can imagine them doing this.
That'd be interesting.
Everyone drunk and or stoned, just like
arms around each other, swaying back and forth.
I Just Got My Pay.
Love it.
You mentioned this earlier.
Yeah. Doesn't fit on any album at all for me. It doesn't have a flow to the next song or a song that would have come before it. But I like it. It became Marcella, and it also uses All Just Up for School. So it's kind of a conglomeration of songs and what they would eventually perfect a year later. Um, but yeah, it's just a quirky little song. What do you think of it?
Not as enamored with it as you are. I think
Yeah.
it's the weaker of the three versions. I love All Dressed Up for School,
Oh, I love
and
me too.
I'm not that big a fan of Marcella, but I think Marcella's
Really?
better than this.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. This is the weaker of the three, for sure. Yeah.
okay, but it's cool. You know, that you can hear them experimenting. They're trying to find the song in it, and they're like trying a different arrangement. And it's kind of weird. Like there's a bit where it's like it stops, starts again.
Yeah.
It's like thudding, banging,
Yeah, the
like
hammered away
crushing.
sound. Yeah.
It's
Maxwell
just
Silver
a
Hammer.
yeah, it's a strange one. I suppose that's maybe that's what they were going for with like a kind of it's the sound of like
Striking Iron or
an
something. Or,
industrious
yeah.
man,
Right, right,
hardworking
right.
man.
Yeah. Which they were all sheet metal workers, apparently, on their weekends.
Mike Love like coming out in sweats during the recording session.
He goes to work wearing those like gold vests that he'd wear in the 70s with his bare chest, ready for work, hammered away.
Honestly, though, around this time, maybe he's thinking that like, this could all go belly up, and I'm back at bloody, Love sheet metal workers with Stad and Steve.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it ever didn't cross their minds because, they had kids, they had houses. Like, if this wasn't work, we got to figure something out. And back then, especially, bands didn't last that long. It was rare if you were in a band for more than 4 years. It wasn't a thing like it is now, I mean, all those groups back then, like Cream and Mamas and the Papas, are unfortunately the ones who passed away, like the Doors or Jimi Hendrix. I mean, they made such an impact on rock music, but they didn't last that long. So who knows?
That's why I think, like, my opinion on Mike and even Murray softened a little bit. The deeper I've gone in to my Beach Boy fandom, and trying to just get a better understanding of the context. Because for Mike, it's like, we've struck, it's lightning in a bottle, and we need to strike while the iron is hot,
right,
and be a commercial prospect. And he can see the other guys aren't thinking along those lines,
right,
and things are crumbling, things are slipping. So he's always trying to be the one who's going to, be business minded and try and be a bit more savvy and commercial,
which is an important part to have.
Yeah, and it's a very thankless position to find yourself in, I think.
Right. Right.
And even Murray, like we said, with this sale here of the Sea of Tunes catalogue.
Yeah.
We can look back and say, that was a horrible thing to do to Brian personally, and we can scoff at the decision. I can't remember how much he got, but it was like, I think it was $700,000.
Right.
And I think I read that in the Keith Badman book.
Yeah.
So, and he said, I think in 2004, when that book was written, the catalog was worth like $25 million. So what's it worth now? I don't know, 100, 200?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, especially what they're doing now. Who knows? Yeah.
But again, you got to think like Murray's gone, well, they've been dropped by Capitol. The deal with Deutsche Grammophone's fallen through. None of the other major labels want to sign them.
Yeah.
The latest singles have all flopped. 2020's flopped.
This is it.
I'm lucky to get this. I think he sold it to A&M. Lucky to get 700,000.
Which was a decent amount at the time, but it's nothing as compared to what it could have become. But I mean, it looked bleak at that point, and that was the thing you could have possibly done. So as much as I think Murray was a piece of crap for a human being, like, there were parts of him that were good for them. So maybe some of the songs at the time was okay for a couple of things to make sure they can keep their houses and, keep some sort of income coming in. But In the long run, missed opportunity, man. Yeah.
One little scrap here left to talk about. You never give me your money.
Yeah. They love the Beatles, man. Like they're always doing something with one of their songs. It's fun to hear them mess around with it. It's cool.
It was on my checklist, so I was staggered, to be honest, that it was here and overjoyed.
Yeah.
Even though it's essentially inconsequential. Again, the completist in me is very happy.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised they managed to get the license to even put it here.
Well, the Beatles got a nice little paycheck for it, so it's all good. So basically, we just paid John and Paul when we bought this box set. So. That's funny.
So, I mean, that is all the songs of this era, at least.
Yeah.
Like you said, Sunflower came out, did horrendously in the States. What's the fallout?
I mean, Warner's was definitely scratching their head about it because they put all this money into this band. None of the singles were charting. The album completely flopped. They were like, what the hell are we going to do? And they were friends with this guy they met named Jack Riley, who was this really cool, younger dude, knew the music scene, really wanted to be their friends, and really understood how to promote this band. And so he took them and basically just reinvented them from the ground up and put them through training camp. I mean, they started playing anywhere they could play. They played colleges, they played little parties, they played here and there. This is when they started playing for hospitals, which is they did a lot of charity gigs, which they still do to this day. So that was when all that started.
That was part of Carl getting out of conscription, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was both parts of it were involved with that. Yeah. It's like, all right, if you're not going to do that, we're going to go play for these hospitals. Okay, I know that's easy to do. But yeah, Jack knew what it was like to love a band and try his best to get them out to the audience, which it feels like how it is now with what the Irving Azoff deal is doing for them now. And so he got them on these bills with like really hip groups, and he, dropped them from wearing their suits on stage, and they'd come out wearing street clothes, which at the time was far out, because throughout millennia, if you were on stage, you wore a goddamn suit. That's what you did. And to come out in t-shirt and jeans was like, did you just fall out of bed? Like, what are you doing, man? Like, and even in the late 60s, people were wearing far out hippie clothes. So to come out in 1971 in a t-shirt and jeans, unheard of. But that's how the new bands were doing it. And so they wanted to look cool. And so, they started doing that, and they started playing shows with the Grateful Dead, and they did all these Big Sur concerts, the Big Sur celebration in California. So they were blending in with this new scene, and that was helping them a lot with exposure. And the swell for them was growing and growing. And so when they started putting together the album that became Surf's Up, even Rolling Stone was behind them at this point and put them on the cover for 2 issues, which is like unheard of. If you made it to the cover of Rolling Stone, you made it. And consequently, Surf's Up was their best charting album since Wild Honey. It hit number 29 in the States. And they were finally getting somewhere. And then they just took another misstep with naming their next album Carl and the Passions, and then it all went downhill from there. But story of their life. But yeah, Surf's Up was the best thing that could have happened to them at that time. And specifically Jack Riley. He helped them. Without him, that band would have fallen apart. That would have been the end after Sunflower. But hell of a dude. Yeah, rest in peace, Jack.
Yeah. Some of those concerts you mentioned, that to me was a big, turning point. Like you said, the Grateful Dead shows, and actually like coming on stage with them and like
jamming together. Yeah.
That's really cool. Some of the bootlegs from that. I mean, there's one that's quite in common circulation that's well worth tracking down if people haven't heard it. But also just the fact they're playing like Fillmore East. I think it's towards the end, 1970. They do the Whiskey Show.
They played there a few times in the summer of 1970, and at the end of I think it was November of 1970, with Brian. Brian played with them for a few shows, and he was so happy to be there. I think he did like a show and a half or 2 shows. He did one complete show, possibly a second, and then left after a few songs on one of the other shows.
Yeah.
But he really liked it while he was there, and then he started getting ear problems, and the sound, everything was too loud for him, so he just said, "No, screw it, I'm out of here."
That's his first show, isn't it? Since Hawaii, I think.
Since Hawaii, yeah. Well, he filled in February of '70 when Mike was sick.
Was that in Seattle?
Yeah, up in Seattle. He did a couple of. I think he played 3 shows with them where he sang lead on a bunch of songs. And to this day, none of the audio exists. Apparently, Bruce has the tapes, but I've never heard them.
I'm sure there's a bootleg called "A World Without Love."
Wait, is that real?
Honestly,
that's what it's
best
called.
Name for a bootleg.
It'd be brilliant, yeah.
And it's like, I think it's that show, one of those shows where Mike couldn't make it.
Oh my god, I'll have to dig that up. I've never heard it. But yeah, Brian did a couple dates there and then came back at the end of the year. And he popped up here and there on and off again for the next couple of years. David Marks joined them for a couple of songs in 1971.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. But yeah,
all of this I think is, these are like signs for me though of like inner turmoil, because like I said, like there's reports of 1969 when they were trying to explore Billy Hinchy.
Yeah,
Billy Hinchy, bringing him in instead of Bruce.
Yeah.
So I think like, yeah, when Jack Riley turned up, and like you said, this kind of strategy, build them back up as a proper kind of like band, Americana roots rock band.
Right.
I think he saw, you know, what a lot of people like about Sunflower, this like group collaboration.
Yeah.
He was like, it's not working. We're pulling in too many directions. And he was very much like, we need to focus on, you know, Dennis as an emerging songwriter, Carl, and especially, of course, Brian. So he was very much like the heart of this band, and the future of the band is the Wilsons.
Yeah.
And these other guys are kind of like, they're cheesy, hangers-on. And especially Bruce, he seemed to have, you know, I'm not saying it's something personal, but I think he just saw those songs.
Yeah.
They were incongruous with this idea he had for the band. So,
and Bruce knew that.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes, that split, it seems to be fairly amicable.
I think it was. Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't as fun as they, you know, kind of dumb it down to be these days. But yeah, I think it was a parting on both sides. I don't think he got fired.
But anyway, I mean, he's here for the time being in this Sunflower, Surf's Up Now era. One of the things I think, that Jack Riley, again, this is quite shrewd. He was like, basically, like the voting system, he was like, the way the band managed their affairs, they had split down the middle. It was like Wilson's versus the other 3. And basically, he tried to maneuver things to give more power to the Wilson kind of vote.
Right.
But he said, you know, I think there's still some, you know, more so even than on Sunflower, I think there's political wranglings going on that result in certain songs being on the final album while others are not. But we can get into that when we talk about the songs.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
But this to me is the beginning of like the more politicized era of the Beach Boys.
Oh, for sure. World weary. Yeah.
This is really where you start scratching your head about why wasn't this here? What happened to that song? And it's just, and pulling in too many directions.
Yeah, I mean, this particular track list, it could have been a whole other album. I mean, there were so many other songs at this time I could have used, and Denny was upset that a couple of his songs weren't on the album, because this is a Dennis list song album. There's nothing on it from him. Like, it's very strange. And he had a couple
After all
of
those
really
contributions to something.
Yeah, he basically
gone?
that album, and he's gone on this one. But I always liked having that double CD, the twofer, where it ends with "Cool Cool Water," and the next song is "Don't Go Near the Water."
Yeah,
I love that. They're singing how great water is, and they're like, "Wait, don't go near it. We've ruined it. Humans have screwed it up."
I mean, that's the big thing as well. Jack Riley tries to bring in developing the social consciousness of the band, and we get all these environmental and social themes being tackled on this album. And I mean, everything about then ties in. It's quite nice how it all ties in thematically. You know, you've got the insert with all the like dried up, cracked land. Right. This very gloomy image on the cover. You know, which I think Jack said he found this painting in a junk shop and was like, well, it's perfect because it's the brother logo.
Yeah.
What's it called? The End of the Trail.
End of the Trail. Yep.
And yeah, attempting to at least sound consciously, socially aware, whether or not it's genuine or not, or they're successful. They're making a damn good go of it.
And this is their most, you know, world weary conscious album for sure. Yeah, it's definitely an album that I love. This album. I feel like I play Sunflower more, but let's look at the track list here again. It's just a solid record. Couple of goofy moments, but really the songs on here are all really solid, mature songs on this one. Man.
I think this has more highlights than Sunflower. I think this has got the heavyweight songs, a couple that for me are in my like top 5 Beach Boys songs ever, you know.
Wow.
But it doesn't hang together as well. And yet it feels like with just one or two tweaks, it could have really been a very complete statement.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Take a Load Off Your Feet and Student Demonstration Time.
Yeah.
Really. You know, and the obvious omissions here, Wouldn't It Be Nice to Live Again? And now as well, a wealth of other songs.
Right.
Box set.
There was so many more they could have chosen from. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, we can have a talk about why we thought some of these songs made it on and why the others didn't.
Yeah.
So, shall I just give you again? I'll go back to my notes and give a little overview of some of the songs that were being recorded here.
Yeah.
And also this Landlocked album that people love to reference.
Yeah, right. YouTube community. My name is Giggens. This is Dreadful Dan. Give him a follow. Subscribe to his channel. He's got some great videos, all kinds of good stuff on there. And we'll see you guys extremely soon for part 2. And take care of yourselves. Drink some cool water. Don't go near the water. And we'll see you soon.
See you guys.